Today we are back with another community member gameplay review, where we break down gameplay that was submitted by a member of the community. Gameplay that probably looks a little bit more similar to yours. Now today we're breaking down gameplay here from I'm Never Leaving, who's around a 1.5 to 1.7 KD player depending on how his week goes. And overall, there's some things that he does really well and other areas that he really needs to improve upon. Frankly, the areas that he needs to improve upon, a lot of you do. So we're going to really focus on those throughout. Now, 3 quick things here while he's looting up. Number 1, as always, if you want the chance to have your gameplay reviewed, check the pinned comment down below. I have a link to join my Discord as well as all of the instructions on how to submit your gameplay. Number 2 is, I'm going to be totally honest, this isn't some crazy high kill game that we're breaking down. He makes mistakes throughout. He is going to struggle at times. We're going to really talk through those scenarios and allow you to learn from them as well. Now, the third thing that I will say here is he's going to end up playing solo duos. Now, if you are subscribed to me, and this explains the title and the thumbnail for today's video, in my opinion, the number 1 way to get better is playing solo duos. And the reason is, it forces you to learn how to fight outnumbered. You're gonna make mistakes, you're gonna be uncomfortable, you're gonna like really just die over and over again at times, but it's gonna teach you how to fight outnumbered, which is going to allow you to improve and start to get more kills. Right here, his teammate backs out on him. Notice the active timer, so that dynamic resurgence timer with Season 4. Real quick, by the way, let me finish that thought, and then I'll jump into this first one. Dynamic resurgence timer. Teammate backed out. Now it's a solo's resurgence timer, so if he does die, he will respawn back in. I want you to notice his looting right here, guys. When we talk looting, a lot of you are very indecisive. Notice how indecisive he gets. Do I want the prox mine there? No, I want the prox mine there. The prox mine would have been fine up top. Do I want the broadside? No. That was a pretty good, quick decision. But then he goes back up here. Do I want the RPK? No. Good, quick decision right there. But watch this situation. Watch how long he ends up looking at all this loot. Claymore, we'll put the Claymore down. We're going to, grab the ammo. We're going to look at the Icarus. Do I want the Icarus? Maybe. Do I want the... You see how long that takes? That does 2 things. Number 1, it just slows your pace down, and a lot of you struggle with looting just way too long. It's going to slow your pace down, and it's going to really hurt your awareness. You're not going to be aware of everything going on. Now, I want to talk through this situation. Good down right here with the ISO 45. Now, you have one of 2 options in this situation, and this is what a lot of you do. A lot of you do what he does, automatically drop down, right? Which isn't a bad play, as long as you focus on re-engaging. Here's what I would have done. I would have went ahead. Okay, there we go. We're able to throw that across. We grab the flash. We're able to get this down right here. Now, here's what I do. I don't want to full disengage this. So I'm going to play this little wall right here to my right side. I'm going to start to put a plate in. But my ultimate goal is to get back into this building right here. At that point, I can keep sprinting while plating. I can go down the stairs, and once I'm full plated, I can re-engage. The pressure is on them to revive. Now, this guy probably has a self-revive, but even if he self-revives, he is going to be low health. So I'm still going to be at an advantage with 1 enemy full plates and 1 enemy very low health. Now, let's see what he does here. He's going to go ahead. He is going to drop down. So I'm okay with that. That's not a bad play. But notice he loots right here. Now he's going to keep pushing up, okay? We are taking advantage of sprinting while plating. He's going to reload. Now, I would pop dead silence here. Go ahead and use that to your advantage, especially early, and go ahead and try to get that down. Now, he is going to pop up. He's going to just barely not be able to get this down, and he's going to chase. I kind of like this chase and keeping the pressure on a little bit. Now, what does he do in this moment? A common thing that we're going to ask is, what does he do versus what would I do? Right here, notice he's going to look in and just shut the door, and then go ahead and play the opposite, the adjacent rooftop. I'm actually okay with that. I would be a little bit tempted to push in here, just barely, right? Just peek in this doorway a little bit, see if you can find an angle, and see if you can, like, get a re-knock or maybe get a down or something, because keep in mind, if you get a down clean, you can go ahead and challenge that second enemy. So I'd peek this doorway a little bit, but I'm okay with him playing the adjacent rooftop and working his way back up. Once again, let's use that dead silence to our advantage. One thing we are going to notice is lack of awareness with his field upgrade, with his lethal tactical, and with his cash flow. So those are kind of 3 things we are going to pay attention to. Now, right here, he's going to peek this. Not quite sure where anybody is. Once again, I'm not going to keep harping on it, but like Deddy allows us to just run around, and as long as we're anticipating and centering, which, by the way, I do just want to say, if you look right here as he peeks up the stairs, I do like this centering. Notice the centering at the top of the stairs. Really good job right here of anticipating. And the doorway as well. Notice he's anticipating guys here, putting his crosshairs in, he's ready. So let's go ahead and push back up here, kind of push that forward a little bit. And he is going to re-engage these guys. Now, he's going to re-engage once he hears the fighting. He's going to hear some fighting up top. He hears footsteps at the moment. Now he hears some explosions going on. Just not 100% sure where people are. I'm okay with this patience. I'm okay with this patience. There's the fighting. Now let's go third party. So I think he did really good there. Play a little bit patient. See if you can catch one of them pushing up the stairs, at which point you get the kill, you get the information, and you can go challenge. In this case, he's going to go third party. There's enemy number 1. Not quite down, though. Now, in this moment, like, I would repeat this. I would try to get this guy because he's very low health at this point. But once again, I'm okay. A little bit of a mistake there, but he is able to get away. And now he's going to go ahead and get down with the Claymore. I hate when that happens. I hate when players make a play like throwing a Claymore down and I call him out for it, and then it ends up working out. But you know what? It does. So he has the down. He popped Eddie. He's going to reload here. But notice he doesn't re-engage this. Right? So he has such an advantage. He doesn't re-engage immediately. He kind of waits. There's the thirst. And notice this guy is kind of down below him over this way. Now, he does notice another team right here. So there's a separate team. These do not match up, right? This guy's to his left side. This guy's in here. Third-party situation, but he is full plates. Now, what does he not use here? Right? This is a situation where, okay, I'm okay to go ahead and challenge this. But this is, I would do two things here. Number one, I throw the flash. Use the flash to your advantage. Use your lethal and tactical to your advantage. Number 2, though, instead of like pushing all the way through the door, I kind of like that they closed the door, or I think they closed it, not him. They end up closing it right there. Instead of just pushing in, just break through the door here and kind of keep your cover. Keep your finesse ability to your left and right so that you can get away, at which point this becomes a little bit easier. What you end up seeing in that situation is you see this guy, you probably catch a glimpse of the guy to your left side too that's sitting in a corner. I know a lot of you make this mistake where you're over-aggressive pushing into a building, not knowing how many there are. We should always be thinking about, especially in buildings, how can we get away, right? Where's our nearest exit? How do we keep our cover as much as possible and not put ourselves in a bad spot? Now, he's got $4,100. He is going to go back in on loadout. He's got 12 seconds or 10 seconds till his respawn timer is active, and I like the smoke play. Another thing that I will say, guys, a lot of you really don't use your smokes enough. Now, in this situation, he is just going to loot up for a second. Really like this play. Let's go ahead. Let's regain just a little bit. We know some people are floating around, don't really have a ton of information as to where. Let's see if we can get it down. See if we can get some piece of info, at which point we can act on. So he does have one over that way. Go ahead and grab some ammo, some plates. And he is kind of just scanning around here for a second. He's going to go ahead and kind of peek up top. He sees one flying in. Yeah, he's sitting on the loadout, but we'll take the kills. I mean, it happens with the information. There's number 1, and there's number 2. So we got one guy that's close and one guy across the street. Now, he is going to go ahead and engage this guy across the street here. He's going to look for him, catches a quick glimpse of this guy with movement, right? So make sure you're keeping it out for these little pieces of movement here. You don't see much of this guy, but notice it should catch your eye. It should catch your eye that you see that, and now we go challenge. Now, he's going to get the down. He's going to get the thirst. Gets high alerted in the back. He's going to go to play his smoke, and he goes down. Now, I want to talk about two different things right here. Number 1, throwing knives, right? If you're going to use throwing knives, you got to use them to your advantage. Now, why is that so important? Just based on ammo capacity. So he ends up having 17 rounds here because he thirsted with the gun. Would he have had enough to challenge this guy? Probably. He would have probably had enough to get the down. Now, number 2 is right here. He's got about a half a plate left. Use your map knowledge here. Continue to work on this, because what I will tell you is I'm 99.9% confident he could have gotten into this building that's behind my camera. If I were to flip off my camera right here, you'll see this little doorway. I think he could have gotten in this little doorway right here. And then at that point, it's kind of on. At that point, he starts sprinting while plating. He goes up the stairs. He finesses a little bit, and then he can re-engage. Instead, he tries to play the smoke. He's just not able to get it down in time, and he does end up going down. Now, we talk about flying back in. I really like this play that he makes, sort of. I kind of wanted to. He does one thing that's not good and one thing that is good. Real quick, by the way, if you are looking to get better, make sure you are subscribed down below. My whole goal is just to help you improve. Now, he does notice his skull. First thing, guys, is this is a quick respawn here. So you know that this team is still floating around. They did not go far here. And sure enough, does he see him on the rooftop? I don't know if he does see him on the rooftop here. He is going to grab that right there. And now we got the route. Okay, so we're close. We've got a gun. We can land back in where we died. We know our perk package should be there, especially because the loadouts are to the left side. Perk package should be there. You know, we, of course, should have our guns floating around. He's got the TAC V, and he does have the RAL as well. Now, what I will say here is, what did he miss? Well, he kind of missed two things. I don't know if you can hear it. Number one is we clearly have the information down below. Just based on where they are, I would kind of think that they are pushing up here. Now, the second thing that he missed is an audio cue. It is very clearly a wooden ladder that's being climbed right here. I would 100% just be ready for this guy. To this side, it looks like he just reacted a little bit too late to it, and he ends up going down. So, unfortunate situation right there. Just didn't capture the information, the two pieces of information that we should have been using right there, which was the portable radar and, of course, you know, the audio cue. So what do? Well, we know that we died over here. They have a UAV tower up, so we've got to be really careful. And notice he hasn't really gotten any momentum here. He's been struggling a little bit, but it's not that second guy that's killing him. It's a lot of times it's that first one, and he's not able to get that initial knock, or he's not capitalizing on that information that he gets after a kill. So right here, he's just going to go find some guns, and then he does end up rotating back here as we push this forward. He is going to rotate back here to where he died earlier, and he is able to grab his guns. So at this point, he's got the Lockman 5.56, the ISO 45. He's got perks. He missed his throwing knife right there, but that's perfectly fine. I mean, that's not crucial, especially knowing that they just popped a UAV tower over his head. You know that these guys are floating around here. But notice he's pretty much back. I mean, he's in a really good spot here to go ahead and challenge. Now, really good job right here of just kind of, you know, he missed opportunity there reloading the ISO, but he does challenge this well, and he keeps the pressure on. You know, at this moment right here, you got to remember that, like, he's broken, but as soon as he breaks this guy, they're about even. Now, there's another enemy floating around, so you got to be careful, but he has no plate, so he kind of has to find a way to get this kill right here in order to have any chance whatsoever. Now, he's going to reload the ISO right there. Good shots. Now they're even once again. And this is the biggest thing, guys. When a lot of you forget about this, keeping the pressure on. Yeah, right in this moment, this is an even fight. Both of you guys are broken, so keep the pressure on. He's able to get the down, and gas is going to stop right there. Now look at the information, right? The information is over this way. So we know that we're okay. Let's pause. Let's breathe for a second. Let's regain. Let's get cash. Let's plate up. We've got the ISO. You shouldn't even be thinking about the PDSW because you got your own guns. Now, what does he miss right here? He is going to miss this the rest of the game. UAVs, UAVs, UAVs. Guys, in this moment right here, you need to be thinking about UAVs. Are we in a great spot to get one? No. There's definitely a guy flying off. So as soon as this guy flies off, like, I'm going to hit that buy station. Now, where are we? If we go to the buy station, guys, if you really think about this, where are we susceptible from? Let's go on the mini map up top here. There is a wall literally right in front of this buy station. So this whole entire side you should be covered from, which means you're only susceptible about these buildings right here. Go buy a quick UAV. That's a huge advantage to understand where everybody is. And a lot of you struggle with lack of cash flow awareness. You don't, number one, you don't think about, you don't even notice that you have good cash flow. And number two is, even if you do have good cash flow, you're not thinking about actually buying stuff. So now all of a sudden, fire sale's over. He can no longer buy a UAV. Now we're once again just kind of reacting. We're not pushing people. We don't have any information about where to push. We're simply just reacting, and of course that guy, he is able to get that kill. Little bit of a bad spot there. Would have been much nicer if we had that UAV. So now what do? Right? Let's reset here. We've got to push it just a little bit in to get into circle. Look, notice right here, he's completely out in the open, guys. Just a little thing here, completely out in the open. Even if he thinks somebody's up top, you got to find cover first because you have zero cover right here, and you are a sitting duck. Now, in this moment, what's my thought process? Back for a UAV, right? I just picked up a bunch of cash. I've got $9,850. Let me go buy a UAV, maybe buy plates, maybe buy durable gas mask, something that gives me an advantage. Now, as he pushes over, I do want to commend him here. You know, like I said, there's areas that he does play well. This is one of them. He hears the shooting and immediately engages. He's going to go ahead and third party this. Can't quite figure out where this guy is. Acts on the movement. Really good shots right there with the Lockman 5.56. Now, notice this one. Notice two guys. So there's one straight back and there is one down below him right here. This is one where we take advantage of the mini-map being broken. I don't know why this is a thing, but he's playing duos. He just got information about two different teams, so he knows that there's two teams over this way, just not 100% sure where. By the way, guys, when you're hearing this shooting, he heard shooting over this way, you got to think rooftop first. This guy's sitting literally right here. You're going to see a little bit of movement. They're very rare. First of all, there's no windows or anything over here to get an angle from, but I'm going to assume that they're on rooftop and then kind of work from there. There he is. You kind of see him move a little bit right there, and now all of a sudden he's out of the picture. So $11,850. Still no information, right? This is the pushing versus getting pushed. Guy right there, good shots to kind of scare that guy off. He is able to break him. He has no smokes, so he's in a little bit of a tougher spot here when it comes to rotating, but he knows that team's over there, so he's just got to be a little bit careful. Also has to remember that there are still 2 teams over to his right side here, you know, over by the little water buildings. Yeah, these water buildings right here. Now, what's my thought process? Again, like, gotta find some information here. We can really see how tough this is. Look, this is tough for me. Like, I feel confident knowing how to find people. There's people over to my left side. There's people over to my right side. Like, I can go challenge those guys and put myself in a position. But it's so much tougher when you don't have those UAVs. And again, a lot of you just aren't getting cash flow, or you're not recognizing that you have cash flow. What would I do here? I'd push left to go buy a UAV. I would 100% push in this way. You've got pretty good cover from most of the buildings here. You've got to be quick, because if somebody's on this rooftop here, which, remember the guy that was sitting up there, so there is a guy up here. The question is he on this side or is he on this side? You know, but you have good cover to buy a UAV, and that UAV tells us where everybody is. There's 15 enemies left here. By the way, don't get me wrong, this is going to be a 10-kill game as we kind of go towards Endgame, which we will absolutely take in solo duos, but we're still seeing him struggle a little bit with that getting information and that pushing versus getting pushed. Kill right here, but at this point, respawn's disabled, so now we aren't getting any more minimap pings, and we are just kind of reacting to the enemies that we see. Still no information here. We got 14 other enemies still alive. And when we look at kind of big picture, guys, into how this gameplay kind of unfolded a little bit, I think the 3 major areas are not being able to get a clean first kill so that you can challenge enemy number 2, you know, not getting information in UAVs up, which means you're not pushing, and then actually, I think those are the 2 main ones. Those are probably the 2 main ones that I see. One up top here, right? So little bit of movement right here. Watch the little bit of movement. Boom, little bit of movement. We know he's there. Well, how can we engage that? Map knowledge. There's a zip right outside if we wanted to go challenge. There is a stairwell on the backside in this little corner right here that you can go take. That's just a little bit of map knowledge, guys. As you continue to play Vondel, you will start to learn about kind of all the different ways to get onto rooftops and things like that. Now, watch his centering here again. Does have pretty good centering. He's going to push up top. Now, I didn't think that guy was going to be there either. You know, I 100% didn't. This is a big one, sprinting while plating. Guys, as soon as you break this line of sight, as soon as he pushes here, sprinting while plating. Start getting those plates in. Take advantage of that increased movement speed. That allows you to finesse a little bit more. But you see how he's kind of shimmying there? He's shimmying with an AR out and really doesn't have... he can't even reset tack sprint because it's so tough. Now, notice there is a buy station backside that somebody hit, so we got to be thinking about where this guy is. Good job using high alert right here. That's where high alert is still an advantage. Good shots, and his execution's not bad. He has really good moments of execution. I think one of the biggest areas that he struggles with is that gameplay strategy. He can clearly win gunfights and win 50-50s, but we just got to figure out how do we use information in UAVs to put ourselves in situations where we can get those kills without enemies shooting back. How do we get those kills when it's not a face-to-face 50-50, right? How do we start to shoot them in the side or shoot them in the back and we get that down and thirst before they even know what happened? The answer is information and positioning, right? So let's go ahead. He is going to push over. Now, in this moment, I'm like, yes. The first time I watched this, I'm like, okay, we're good. Like, let's go ahead. We're going over. I know we're going buy station. We've got to be going buy station here. We've got to be going buy station here. You got a ton of cash. We got to be going buy station. Doesn't go buy station, right? Now, why is that? I think that's just lack of cash flow. Guys, when you start playing solo duos, there's going to be so much going on in your head. You're going to be a little bit nervous. You're not going to be confident. Confidence equals information plus execution. Can you get information? And then, of course, position yourself well, hit your shots, use, you know, the little bit of movement in this game to take less damage. So that's where the lack of confidence comes from. But when we talk about that lack of confidence, it doesn't help when we're not getting the information component. So right here, just going to use his high alert. High alert is information, so we can use that to our advantage. And he's trying to see what he can find. Would have been much easier if we knew exactly where the 5 other enemies were. 9 kills right here. He's got 4 other enemies still alive here, so just trying to put himself in a good spot. I had no issues with where he's playing. He's not going to be able to get power position right here, so he does need to start thinking, okay, I want to rotate. Can he hit shots? Can't quite hit shots right there, so he's going to go in the water. Not a bad spot to be. By the way, in this moment, just a little 500 IQ thinking, guys. This is where you want to start to really understand enemies. You've got a team straight ahead here on the buy. You've got to have a team over here. There 100% has to. You cleared out pretty much all of this side right here, right? So they've got to be somewhere in this vicinity over on this side of the circle. I mean, that's just That's a pretty, in my opinion, that's a pretty predictable play. I don't exactly remember where this team comes from, but that's where I would expect them to be. I was wrong. That's actually really funny. I was wrong. They were on that right side, so we didn't fully clear that out. I don't know where that team came from, but let's pause for a second as we're kind of finishing this game up a little bit here. UAV would have told us that, right? So if he popped a UAV when he was at this buy station over this way and he had 24 grand, that would have given him a picture, and then it's just about remembering that info. So, okay, we got 3 teams across here. We've got 1 team on this close side, and you start to piece that together. Now, he is just going to end up playing water kind of the rest of this game here. And he's, you know, he doesn't have a pistol or anything. He's going to whack a little bit. He is going to swim. I'm going to speed this up here because he's just going to be swimming, chasing these guys for a little bit. So he is going to be able to get that down and thirst right there. There's the thirst. There's kill number 10. So it's a 1v2v1 here. So he's not in a bad spot to be able to get this win. You know, obviously this game wasn't perfect, but this is kind of the pacing of Vondel, right? Picked up a lot of kills endgame here just by reacting to what was going on around him. It's a 1v1v1 situation at this point. So let's go ahead, take our high ground here, put ourselves in a good spot. We got to get out of the water as soon as possible, especially with this circle pull. Should rotate early here, get to that power position, you know, get up top. Go ahead and get on top of this rooftop. Oh, there's one right there. That's a problem. Yeah, go ahead and keep playing up top here. Or swim down below. Swimming down below is perfectly okay. Yeah, there's one right in front. Can he actually get this guy? No way he actually gets this guy. Can't quite get him. Let's slow this down. I'm just going back and forth because I'm trying to speed this end game as we rotate here, and we're not just swimming the whole time. So let's speed up a little bit. See how he finishes this. I would take this ladder right here, guys. 100%. Take your high ground. Encircle with cover, then power position. This building right here, encircle with cover, high ground is power position. Especially now we're in a 1v2 scenario. 1v2 scenario would have been really good to be in a spot here to shoot down on these guys. Now, the other thing that I will say, guys, he ends up just waiting. When you're in a 1v2 endgame, you've got to kind of find a way to get a clean down and thirst, just as we usually do. And then you go challenge that last enemy, especially at this point where, you know, circle's closing. There's not a whole lot we can do rotating wise, guys. So I hope you found today's video helpful. As I always say, let's get better today, and I will see you tomorrow.